Konnichiwa. Ni hao. Hey, good morning, everybody. How you doing, huh? Today is the 25th of June, 2015. This is your daily Forex Trading Strategy Session for Thursday. Kind of a quiet night. How'd you do? Or I guess for morning for a lot of people. For me, I guess technically it's still morning. Feels like night. Very poorly. Patience at the test. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I foresaw it coming, so I actually went to bed. Yeah, I actually slept. Amazing. Amazing. And I wake up and nothing happened, and it feels so good. Feels good. Yeah, so nothing happened. That's good. So anyways, today is Thursday, June 25th. As you can see here, the recent posts. Boom, 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 boom. Lots of trading ideas posted on Forex.today. Let's see. I don't know. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At least a dozen. Cool. Well, I want to start with the calendar. I want to show you how to do that. You go to News, click on the calendar from the drop-down menu. Okay, then you get the big laundry list of everything that's left. It's a lot of stuff, huh? So let's filter that a little bit. Oh, quick test. What's the definition of M3 money supply? M3 money supply is M1 and M2 money supply plus illiquid assets like stocks, bonds, stuff like that. Slightly more illiquid. Interesting, huh? So M1 is cash held by public and checking deposits. M2 is M1 plus savings deposits. And money markets, and well, I guess even money markets probably pretty close to an M1, but we'll call that an M2. And then M3 would be M1 and M2 plus things like stocks and bonds and other, reasonably liquid, but not as liquid as cash. All right, so what I want to do is filter this out. Boop, boop. Let's look at reasonably important news events today. So I'll hide that filter. And so the date is the 25th. So let's look at this stuff. What's left today? 25th is all the way in here. Cool. So that's left. So we got weekly unemployment claims in the United States. Shouldn't be that big of a deal, but we want to see good numbers, right? Especially if you think the Fed's going to raise soon. Okay. So, we don't want a bad number. But PCE is very, very interesting. PCE and personal spending, personal consumption, expenditures, all that kind of stuff. The Fed actually uses PCE probably more than, like GDP, for example. If I were to guess, the Fed pays most attention to NFP and PCE. I don't really know. They keep inviting me to the Fed meetings, but I'm always busy. I'll put it on my someday kind of list. So anyways, that could be a doozy. Especially if it's a really good number, whatever that means, good relative to whatever the market wants. Good number could bring some more strength. Okay, and that's at 8:30 a.m. New York time. It's 7:40 a.m. New York time. So a big one. And then some Bank of Canada stuff, and then all the way, this stuff's in Asia. Okay, that stuff's in Asia. So that's, many hours off, right? That's midnight for me, almost. So some Kiwi news, huh? A little later in Asia, Japanese CPI. So a good day to trade the Asian session. I don't think this stuff matters that much. Eurozone total money supply. Well, it's growing. We know that. Okay. Hey, Igor, your screen is probably low resolution. So, because traders generally have high resolution screens because they want to fit as many charts on their screen as possible. The site's designed here, as you can see, mine is showing at HD. So it's a high definition site. But even my cell phone is HD. And then I was looking at a cell phone just the other day because I was thinking about getting a new one, and it has a 2K screen. Yikes! Who would want a 2000K cell phone? It's only 5.5 inches in diameter, and it's not 1080p, but 2160p. What? It doesn't even, what? I don't get it. Oh, well, Ron, my cell phone has a 20 megapixel camera. You're like, really? Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, whatever. So, anyways, your laptop should have a higher screen resolution than my phone. I mean, come on. Time to upgrade. It's a Sony. It's nothing special. No, but seriously, if you're a currency trader, get yourself an HD screen. It's not that big of a deal. You should have at least look, my screens are like 1,000 years old, at least 5 years old, and they were nothing special 5 years ago. Oops, this one needs to be changed. But as you can see, I would say your minimum resolution should be, so this 1050, that's basically 1080, right? So 1680 by 1050, that's mediocre. If you have a laptop, you might only have a 14.4 by 900. That's old. That's really old. Your laptop's probably 5 years old. Buy a new one, dude. Come on. This is your profession. Seriously, this is your profession. 1680 by 1050 is really, and I'm not being a brute. It's not that big of a deal. These screens are, what, $75 each? Mine were probably $200 when I bought them 5 years ago. But all I'm saying and suggesting is it's not that big of a deal. Okay, I just had to reset that. So, but this is your job, right? This is your job. You're a currency trader. So you're going to need room for your charts, and the more room for your charts, the more data you're going to have, right? So if you only have this much data, because that's the resolution of your screen because you have a cheap old laptop, save your money. Get a second job. Borrow money from your wife's dad. Who's that? Your father-in-law. Borrow $1,000 from your father-in-law. Get yourself a decent trading rig. You don't need a million screens, but you should have at least one screen with one reasonable level of resolution, so that you can, instead of having that, you have this. And this is only HD, right? That it's not even 1080 is nothing. So I'm not saying you go out and get $1,000, trading rig, but get yourself, even the cheapest PC, a dual core machine running. I got one that runs Windows XP, and it's got a reasonable resolution of HD or higher, right? No. I'm not beating you down, right? What I'm suggesting is you save, prepare, put it down as a goal, right? Because you're going to want that, right? Yeah, no, yeah. So like, again, it shouldn't be a big deal, but instead of a little laptop running Windows 8, go get a 3 or 4-year-old dual core desktop PC that has a reasonable, even a cheap video card is going to run 1080. Get that, and just put only your trading stuff on it. It's only going to have MT4, and that's it. Yeah, put it on the goal, right? Because again, I bring it up because, well, again, this is your trading profession, and you're going to need to see, multiple time frames, for example. So one problem I always get is a trader says to me, Wayne, I bought here and lost money. What did I do wrong? I'm like, well, all I see is this one time frame, right? Or even worse, they have it like this. So multiple time frames really help. Oops. So one of the things that what I look at, there we go. One of the things I look at on a screen setup like this is I immediately eyeball the oscillators. All right, this should be a 4-hour. Hang on, see? I can see that right away. Oops, this is supposed to be over here. Hang on. Okay. All right. So one of the things I'm looking at right away, I say oscillators, 4-hour moving up, 1 hour moving up. Oh, that should be a 15. Okay, 15 moving up. So you could time these things, right? And that's key. Not always, but you kind of, it's not just oscillators. But where are we in regards to the 4-hour 5? Where are we in regards to where's the 21 on the time frame? All kinds of things, right? And it's very important to have enough data on your screen that you can make some of these decisions fairly quickly, versus having to go from you start on the daily. All right, the daily, that's down. Okay, well then the 4-hour. Oh, but that's up, and then this, and you're switching around, and really, well, where's the daily 21? Oh, I don't remember. I have back, right? And it's clumsy. So you want to see multiple time frames, but again, a low-res computer, you'd only see this, and that's not enough room, because then your screens, each chart's going to be so tiny that you can't fit anything in there. So then you got to go full screen, and you're just going to miss something, and it's going to cost you money. My like 1,000,000 years ago, I believe I had just kind of gone full-time trading. This was back when an LCD flat screen, was a big deal, right? And I bought 3 screens. And it was a really big deal for me because, I was making a commitment to my career, to being a trader. I kind of felt like for the first time I was a trader. People, would walk into my home office, 3 screens, and it was like amazing. No one ever saw it before. I'm like, look, my mouse cursor can go from one screen to the other. I mean, it was kind of childish, but it was fun, right? But anyways, I remember I was under my desk and I was finishing hooking everything up, right? And then I sat down from my desk for the first time in awe. And then I grabbed my deal book. It was my GFT deal book. It was before 316, and it was deal book, and then deal book 2 came out. But anyway, so I grabbed my GFT deal book and I drag it across 3 screens so that I have, my charts on 3 screens. And the first thing I saw was a triple top on the Euro USD because I could see like a whole week's worth of data going all the way to the left. And I shorted it, boom, made money. And I thought I would never have seen that. Never would have seen that without the 3 screens. Well, no, I wish it was that good. But, I'm just telling you, the first minute of me having more data, I saw support and resistance better. And isn't that what we're doing? So more data is better, guys. So you can have some people say, well, Wayne, I got a 50-inch screen. Yeah, but you bought a cheap 720 screen, a 720p screen because you got it at Walmart. I'm like, so you got this huge 50-inch screen, but you only have 720 pixels of data, which is smaller than my cell phone. So it's not the size, it's the resolution. And building your computers, I think, are important. So we can go into that in detail one day, but I think I did a couple of weeks ago how to build a cheap trading computer, right? Yeah. So anything over 900 pixels is what you should have. Really, it should be 10 something, right? Um, good. Yes, there's a lot of people now that are trying to use Macintosh computers to trade with, and some people have no problems. So that's that. And I used to be an employee of Apple, so I can't say anything too bad. But my suggestion: you stick to a PC because you're gonna if you try to do things like add 4 screens or 6 screens to a Mac, I think it gets very expensive. If anything, you're just doing it in a very expensive way. The Mac screens are so high res, they're high quality. They're more than what you need because all we're doing is um, two-dimensional charts, and you don't need color green and all that kind of stuff. So really get yourself a trading machine, buy a cheap PC, you don't need anything fancy, and you can build it out to run, let's say 6 screens for very cheap. Very, very cheap. And all you have, and make it your dedicated trading terminal, if you will, and then use your Mac for all your personal stuff. Here in the United States, that's even important for taxation reasons. To separate completely your personal life from your trading life. All right, so we got PCE coming out today at 8:30, and that's a big deal. Yeah, you got it running on Linux, huh? That's cool. About a year ago, I read into that, and some people could do it. Some people have found it it's problematic. But again, probably not necessary. I mean, it's cool if you're into that, right? Yeah, yeah, like Ron's saying, right? But so, are you getting one of those little machines? It's the size of a deck of cards. So, I mean, the only upside about that is it'll run much cooler and my office gets really hot. But then you're not going to be able to run 6 screens on it. So all of that's fancy, completely unnecessary. Just get a cheap old machine, expand it out with external video cards, and you're good to go. So like a PC, 3 external video cards, or actually you only need 2 external video cards, and 3 HD screens. You don't need an array if you only have 3 screens. So you got them 3 left to right on your desk, under $1,000. If you spent more than $1,000, it was unnecessary. All right, so really nothing happening in the market. What do you want me to do? You want me to go through and show you everything that didn't happen? One thing I can do is I can pull up some research on my database on PCE. How about that? I just need a minute or two to update the database. .227" on your mini Mac? That's cool, Stephen. Jim, our high probability trade setups? Yeah, except there isn't any right now. So it's kind of hard, right? Because then I'd say, well, if this was and if that. So here's what one of the reasons why I took the night off, waited all the way to 6 something to wake up. The reason I did that is, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I told you this is the week that summer starts. And I got really mad at Euro yesterday because it didn't trade technically at all. I mean, a little bit, but always after the fact. Like, it bounced where I wouldn't buy, it got rejected where I wouldn't sell, and at the end of the day, it didn't do anything. And all my trades were right in the middle. And I wake up, I wake up today and it's right where I sold London yesterday. I mean, and I'm like, man, this thing's trading on the rumor, right? Not the fact. So I said, well, then that's it. That's summer. Not that it shouldn't be that bad, but summer can be like that where it's supposed to trend, but all of a sudden it doesn't trend. Or it reverses at some weird level of support and resistance, not the one you thought. So I'm like, well, I got to change. So to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning and all that kind of stuff. You know what's terrible is waking up 1 o'clock in the morning and not getting a trade. But you know what's even worse than that? Waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning and losing money. You're like, well, what the heck, man? I could have just slipped in and not lost $1,000 for my, I mean, like, oh my God. So, yeah, I'm kind of getting into that role where I'm like, you know what? Maybe for July and half of August, I take it easy. It's summertime, and I wake up and I scalp 20 or 50 pips out of New York and just call it a day. Don't make a lot of money, but don't don't put that many hours into trading. Okay? All right, excuse the FX bootcamp. That's another entity of mine. All right. PCE. Which one do you want to do? Spending? No, we'll do spending. Yeah, so I go into like I said a couple weeks ago, I kind of go into a 3366 mode. So like when the yens are moving during a good part of the year, like September and October, sometimes I'll have 150 pip stops. Don't recommend it, but sometimes I have to. But I risk 150 and make 500. Right? So I give myself a day or two for the trend to catch it, to catch, and then it takes off, and I'm jamming my stop, and I'm good. Once I got my stop jammed, I'm going to make money. I'm going to walk away with 300 faux show. But not in the summer. Shoot, it could go down 30 and then go back up 30 and whatever, just so whatever. I think you get it. All right, so PCE. Look at these numbers. Flat, 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 flat. But what's interesting here is that it's come out as expected for 3 months in a row. But before that, negative differential, negative differential, negative differential, negative differential, negative differential. In those cases, Euro USD went up. Is that right? Hang on. It went up, 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 up. Wow. Gee whiz. It always goes up. This case, it goes up and then down. This up, way down. Up, way down. Huh. Whale oil B. What does this do? If it's a negative, if it's a miss, lower than expected, it goes up. Almost no retracement. If it's a miss, it goes up, almost no retracement. Miss, up, almost no retracement. Miss, up, no retracement. This one, whoa, it actually went down. And then this went up and down. This went mostly down, mostly down. So look at the price action here. Let's learn from the past. So this is personal spending. It's all released at the same time, so it's the same moves, right? Okay. So it went up, and something else brought it down at 10 o'clock. Ha! So what else is on the calendar today? What do we have at 10? We don't have anything today, do we? No, not that. That's the trade balance stuff is Asia, man. So that's probably not going to happen. See what I'm looking at? Let me change the colors here on my drawing tool because you're not going to be able to see it. Hang on. Let's do white. I rarely get to use white. All right. So here's what happens on the news. Goes up a little bit for a while. And then around 10 o'clock, boom! All right, so PCE, all it did was go up 30 pips. So something else is going on, right? So that was May. Here's April. This one sort of went down, and then 10 o'clock reversed. Month before, this is March, down about 25 pips, then back up sideways. So it seems to me here so far, yeah, another scenario, you can expect about a 25 pip scalp out of this thing. And a miss has been more up than down. So let's do it this way. Let's look at only days that are worse than expected. And over the last year, if it's a miss, the market tends to go up. Remember, this one last went down because of whatever happened at 10. So a miss will tend to bring the euro up. So, which is another way to say is a bad number seems to make the dollar weak. Let's look at greater than a consensus. And over recent history, tends to do nothing. Huh! Well, that's interesting. We haven't had a better than expected numbers since last summer. So my guess is it's going to come out as expected, right? Let's check that. Equal to consensus, and that ends to be flat. See? Flat, 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 flat. Way to the right, mostly to the right, but I think that's probably 10 o'clock news again. 10 o'clock it reversed. 10 o'clock it reversed. All right, well, there you go. The Euro USD is either going to go up or not do anything based on past performance. It's not indicative of future results, but that is the data. And if there is something on the calendar at 10, I don't think it's that PMI stuff. Guess it could be. Then let's say it this way. If we get a bad number, I got to change my drawing tool. Let's put it back to black. All right, if it's a bad number, bad, Euro USD is going to go up for about maybe 25 to 30 pips. Okay? If it's as expected or a miss, the market's not going to do much of anything. No, initial claims are at same time, 8:30. Okay? And if there's something on the calendar around 10, and we got this composite PMI. Which PMI? I wouldn't call it that. Services? Maybe it's just the dumb calendar. So is that ISM services? Well, then see, that's a big deal. They have it as not a big deal. Can someone confirm on a different calendar? Is that June services PMI? All right, so then that is a big deal, and that'll be the market mover. So if there's a negative number, not negative meaning a miss, on the PCE, you can scalp long Euro USD for about 25 pips. If you don't get that, there's not necessarily a trade, and you should probably do nothing. Now, past performance does not predict future results. Right now, the market is waiting for clues of when the Fed's going to raise interest rates. Now, remember, September was off the table, but Powell, just a couple of days ago, said, hey man, he would vote for a raise in September and December. And it's about 50-50 that the Fed decides to raise interest rates, which means he and his buddies on the Fed are actually talking about it. Boom, cards are back on the table. We know there are voters that would like to do it. They just have to show consensus with Grandma Yellen in the actual vote. But in the meeting, they're having their discussions. Right? So, if we get a good PCE number, it might actually move the market. It hasn't in the past, but it might be more important today. And that's why you say things like past performance does not predict future results. Well, the market may react more favorably to the US dollar if we have a better than expected PCE, because the whole market will say, see, I told you, they're going to raise interest rates in September. See, I told you, PCE, the numbers are good. Everything's hot, we got to raise. And the market will get what it wants, even if it's not true. All right, because remember, the market's trading, the future, not the past. So that's that. But it seems to me, over recent history, the services PMI is the market mover. Let's see if I can isolate that on the calendar. No, see, it's not even on my calendar. On this calendar either. But we can see. I just can't tell you the history of how good or bad the numbers have been. But the 10 o'clock is going to be the better scalp. Okay? Yeah, it might be a good time to do binaries, right? Absolutely. All right. So I can get you the news coming out in just about 15 minutes. Let me get that set up. What shall we trade? I'm looking at my screens. I'm looking around. Aussie dollar doesn't look interesting. USD CAD has been held down by the 124, but I might consider buying it. But then I look at the oscillators, and there's no way, Jose. I'd have to be pretty hungry to eat that. So what else? USD yen. USD yen says what? Maybe up? Not now. Maybe USD yen. Maybe USD yen if dollar gets strong. Maybe pound dollar if dollar gets weak. I'm looking at pound dollar daily, and it says down which is another way of saying not up. But we are on monthly support. That's a bit dangerous. I know, Igor, but I can't fit all 18 screens onto your laptop. So I'm just looking at my screens and telling you what I see. So I'm trying to figure out what to show on this. So what? Pound, baby. So I can go to pound here. And all right. We had some bouncy plans. This one did go up and then failed. Didn't get the double bottom that was potential, but maybe it's happening now. But like the price action guy in me wants to sell it, but the 55 predicts a bottom. I'd rather it go up if the dollar's weak, is what I said. See, and the dollar's, or the daily says down. Very, very mediocre, right? But we're on top of this cluster of pivots. It would almost suggest down to the 21, but the 21 is rising. I have it like up and then down, which is still very plausible. We must have used the oscillator to help that. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, for maybe up for a while and then down. But I think a bear is still going to be preparing to sell this pretty hard. Probably off the 618, maybe. But the market is much lately that it goes through the 618 and heads all the way up, and then heads all the way down, right? So, but I know a bear's going to prepare to sell that. Let me mark it just in case you don't see it. Sometimes I don't know what you see. Technically, that's a downtrend. So technically, you would be selling rallies. Hour says it can go up for another 5. It can go up for mostly New York. So this says, up until ISM and then back down. So if it went up for a few hours, where we fit? So we just bounced at the psych level. There's the psych level there. So we're through that. 5750 maybe. That's the 618. Seems like you can go even higher than that time-wise, but maybe not. And then someone's going to buy that dip. Okay, they're going to let it come down to about 20. They're going to buy that dip. I think that's what's going to happen today. I wouldn't be shocked. Sort of like that. You said 5760. Okay. I mean, obviously, we're only talking about 10 pips different, so I can't disagree with that. But I would lean a little more on the midpoint psych level. But I see this as a noisy day. I think it'll go up for a while, up, and then end the day where the head up the same. Oh, you got a weekly pivot? What weekly is it? You mean the central? The central pivot point? I don't have that, huh? Let me take a look. I have daily there. Weeklies on this? ETF. Oh, I see. There it is, 62. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that sounds good to me. And then, what time is it? 21. So we got about 8.5 minutes. I want to look at USD yen in case the dollar got strong. So the screens that I have that are farther away from me, so some of my screens are 6 feet away, I use a setup like this so I can see the pivot points. They're really fat and ugly, but I can see them 6 feet away. So I have some screens that are 6 feet to my left, and other screens that are like 6 feet to my right. It's a big desk. So anyway, some of them are so far away, the charts are so far away that I have to use big fatty pivots like this, but that's a typical setup. But it's easy to see, don't you think? Look at the daily S2. Cool, huh? And this is a dangerous place to trade because a bear, what would they do? They would sell that. A bull, they're going to play the higher low. Just the oscillator's not there yet, so they're going to buy it off the 50. And I think we're going to get one of those. But and then of course, how do you trade the break? Well, if you can get the bears through this sucker, I think it'll go down to the next level because it's bearish anyways. If it breaks to the upside, now that is technically a higher low, right? Low, significant retracement, higher low, that would predict a higher high. So, you know, I would expect that. Okay. Hourly wants it to go up, but it ain't going up, man. That's not an uptrend yet, is it? My intentions. All right, but yeah, it's a reasonable support zone on the hour. Definitely a support zone. You see it, right? Got a WPP in there. It's not bad. Mm, 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 mm. 4 hour says wouldn't mind it even coming down to that weekly and then going up. Man, it's 92 degrees in Georgia, and I'm sneezing, and I think I'm sick. That's what I said yesterday too, huh? How could I have a cold? My eyes are all puffy. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't sleep. It's 92 degrees and you still get sick. I like those hot days in the city. There's something about Manhattan that is very, very, very interesting on a hot summer day. Now, half of New York is gone. They're not even in the city anymore. Well, it's a little early. They'll be around in June, but let's say it was July. Half the city's gone. But you still can feel this energy of people getting. Yeah, you're in Brooklyn, but you know what I'm talking about, right? If you're in the city on a hot summer day on a Friday night or something, you can feel it. You can feel the energy of the people, and no one's in their apartment. It's way too hot, so everyone's coming out on the street, and Oh, it's fantastic. All right. Well, you know, it is doing something there, isn't it? It's trying. I wouldn't be too eager. So we might just let it come out. Seems to me the better trade is at 10. So, you know, I might throw down a trade around 10. That'd be make some money. Baltic Dry Index. Holy smokes. All the way to 829. Wow, that thing was 500 recently. Now it's 800. Very nice. That's a mid-December high. That's positive for the that trend, more importantly, is positive for commodities. Is that tomorrow, Demeter? That's tomorrow, though, isn't it? All right. Well, all right. So here's the thing, guys. Is he going to come out and say something bad for the U.S. dollar? He might backtrack what he said, but I would be prepared to buy dollar. What I said a couple of days ago when I spoke, I said that it was almost negligent that he spoke like he was talking to his buddies on the street. He was too frank. So maybe somebody yelled at him. You know, Grandma yelled and probably, you know, put the slap down on him. You know, took her white glove off and slapped him. So maybe he, you know, so maybe he'll backtrack. You got to be careful with central bankers. They often do that, where they tell you yes today and they tell you no tomorrow.
Jumpo's claims, personal income and spending, and PC deflator in just a few seconds.
Right, a miss up.
271,000 for claims, 2,000 lower than expected. The continuing claims 2.25 million above the 2.22 million expected. Prior claims revised 1,000 higher to 260,000.
As expected, as expected.
Back month revised up 1/10 to 0.5%. Personal spending at 0.9%, 2/10 higher than expected, with back month revised up 1/10 to 0.1%. The PC deflator 0.3% and 0.2% in line month over month and year over year. Core at 0.1% and 1.2%, also in line with expectations.
So, like we said, no trade. No trade, guys, no trade. So, as expected on everything, PCE, everything as expected. No.
Month revised up 1/10 to 0.2%.
Okay, so personal income, as expected. Personal spending, actually, a little better than expected. I don't think that'll be, that's good, that's important. People are making money and they're spending it, so that's not a bad thing. Let's look at jobless claims. A little less than expected, which is good. Continuing claims a little more than expected, which is bad. So no big deal either way. The deflator as expected, core as expected. All right, so just continue mission to whatever you wanted. The big event today is going to be the New York, the stock market open, and then the PMI and Powell throwing down his blabbermouth, blah, 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 blah. And one would assume dollar strength of what Powell says, but you got to be careful. If he backtracks, he might come out, basically, tail between his legs. Mommy yelled at me for what I said yesterday. I'm sorry, right? So I guess what I'm saying is pay attention. But I think the market would assume dollar strength. So that means if Euro USD is going down, then you'd want to look for areas to sell it. Now, this looks like it might want to try to break up. And if your plan was to get it up into here, even better, let's say, go back to the open, which would then be the higher high, and then you would plan that. Okay? But remember, we're not supposed to get much based on recent past performance. Looking at the PCE, well, we looked at personal spending. When you look at this news event over the last year, 12 monthly news events like the one that just happened, generally speaking, not much of a trade comes out of this type of release based on what we actually got. So that's helpful, I think, isn't it? Know that you should just throttle back. Like, at best, there's 25 pips here, but not even likely, right? Yeah. So, I have a suggestion. Can you still hear me? My keyboard, I think, just went dead. Shouldn't have tapped my keyboard. I have a suggestion. I think I'm sick. I haven't slept much in the last 2 weeks. So it's 92 degrees in Georgia, and somehow I have a cold. Not feeling that good. I kind of want to just like go back to bed or whine and cry about how tough life is. Feeling all sorry for myself. I'm an only child, so I need constant affection and admiration. Oh, you're so smart, Wayne. You're so smart. You're such a good boy. Meanwhile, I don't have any friends, right? I just sit in the corner and play with my imaginary friends, right? That's you're my imaginary friends. How do I even know you're real? I could be like the guy, Beautiful Mind. Have you seen that movie? Where he finds out, all the major people in his life are imaginary. How do I know you're even real? Right? So I'll tell you what. Because you're my favorite invisible friend, even though you might be a figment of my imagination, you're important to me. And I feel like quitting and taking the day off and feeling all sorry for myself. And that sucks. So why don't we take a break? I'll wrap up the video. And in a half an hour, just about a half an hour, we'll say 8:15-ish. No, I mean 9:15-ish. I'll come back to the room. We catch the New York stock market open at 9:30. We'll listen to the trading pit in real time. Goldman Sachs buys 3 cars. JP Morgan, sell, sell, sell. And then we'll catch the news at 8:45 and the Powell speech. And hopefully by 10:15 we've made our money. And then we'll wrap that up. So I want to crawl in bed and feel sorry for myself. So why don't I give you an extra hour of my time and make sure that we finish this day hardcore. How does that sound? My gift to you. Right? So when I want to like wimp out, I man up. That's just how I roll. So I'll go take a 20-minute nap and come back at 9:15, and I'll give you another hour. Just to say thank you for being on my team, and thank you for being a client of TradersWay, and we'll do some, maybe I'll scalp some binaries or something. Excellent. Hey, did you register at Forex today? If you've registered, add your profile picture if it'll let. And then at the end of down here, there's a comment area, right? Does it let you leave comments? Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't let you leave comments. If it'll let you leave comments, let me know that you're going to be here. So type in there, say, tell me that you're going to leave the comment, and let's just test that out. All right, so I'll see you around 9:15. About just over. You can stay in the room. You can chat amongst yourself. I'm just turning the record off. Okay. Oh, and if it does leave, allow you to leave a comment on yesterday's video. Okay? That would be cool. Just want to test all that out. Okay? Cheers.